This is the number one place to get better at League of Legends. Hi, I had to wake up. I'm still a little sick, but I'm functional enough to work today. We're gonna start off. I'm gonna be doing a quick rundown of what's going on with the new season, the preseason, and then I'm gonna play some Nocturne with Ravenous today. I got the clue in that Nocturne mid was pretty good right now. We're gonna be looking into that. Might as well play it while I can. Try to get some LP cheesing with that for a little bit. Who knows if Ravenous is going to stay in its current state or not? I have no idea. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm trying to feel better. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. But I hung out yesterday. I watched the new, what was it? The new Game of Thrones, the House of Dragons or whatever. I watched every episode yesterday because what else are you going to do when you're sick and you can barely do anything else? Not bad, by the way. If you like Game of Thrones, you should check that out. Let's go through the impact of 1222B. This post is done by a dead man. This guy does these posts all the time, and they're not bad because they basically give you kind of insights on what's happening in the meta right now. I'll be honest, if you want my personal take on the meta right now, anything involving Ravenous is seemingly stupid. So, like, if there's a champion that can functionally use Ravenous right now and then could use Shojin, Spear of Shojin as like a third item, that's probably a champion you should be playing. Whatever, like any role, literally. If you could use those items, play it. Just don't overthink it. Just play those items. That's probably going to give you wins at the moment. So let's go through this list. Last week, I delayed this after push a hot fix last Thursday, Friday. Waited 7 days to get a filter. Okay, so the overall game state is pretty much the same as last post. We'll talk about the hotfix hasn't changed. Top lane is still mostly tankless. So even though we have tank items, they're not great. Shen's there, Sejuani's there, and Rammus is there. Shen's there because Shen's like, you know, he just helps bot lane. I mean, realistically, you survive top lane, then you ult down to bot lane. You're going to be pretty happy that you played Shen in most cases. That's going to get you a win most of the time. I would say that Sejuani is good because her laning is super duper strong. Sejuani's laning is no joke in top lane. She can take Ignite, teleport, and be justified. Rammus is a big question mark for me. I don't really understand why Rammus would do well. I can't imagine it would do particularly well in higher elos. But I mean, Rammus has never really been a weak champion. So there could be some sort of synergy there with the new tank items that he's getting value out of. He could just be... It's one of those things where Rammus... The real question becomes like what actually pushed him over the edge. Obviously, I feel like if he's viable in top somehow, he's obviously going to be really strong in jungle as well. Support dominated by enchanters and AP champs. That's true. There's a reason I play Karma. I feel like basically if you play an enchanter, I never used to think enchanters were that strong, especially in lower elo, but now that I've been playing a lot of Karma and getting really comfortable with like the rotations of like shielding and using Locket and all these different things like Mikhail's, I mean, there's a lot of skill expression in those champions. Obviously champions like Karma and Lulu are the ones that come to mind for me. Because there's so much versatility in the picks, but even the stuff that's just kind of like brain dead, like you know, Yumi, Sona, Seraphine, Soraka, stuff like... Well, Soraka is actually a little bit more active, but the point that I'm trying to make here is that like you could try to do like engage, like you could try to take engage champs like a Leona, Thresh, whatever, but you really have to be precise the entire game. You have to be on the ball the entire game to get any real value out of it, because you just get stat checked. I feel like you make an engage, it's not a smooth engage, it's not a smooth kill, you just get outscaled in the fight and out of the fights like as the game drags on. This has been my take. Ravenous and Spear OP, yeah, we just talked about Spear, Shojin, and Ravenous. The synergy is just too strong. It is what it is. So let's talk about some champions here that are flagged. Amumu, his best and most played role is support. I agree with this. So Amumu is actually one exception to the engaged tank rule that I just talked about. I feel like Amumu is just like a simpler Leona. And he can fail. It feels like he can fail more. And it truly is like, if you've won a champion that engages, Amumu feels just like an exception to this rule that I just talked about. And, you know, he brings good utility to a comp. The bandage toss, the double bandage toss shit that he has now is a lot stronger. I mean, it really did change his champion to make him a lot more viable. I find myself playing Amumu from time to time when I'm in support role, when I see there's just like a lot of poke champs, because it just seems like a really good answer. He can just, you know, he can just max range engage with Q and force like a shit ton of summoners with that. And it just feels a lot easier than Leona. I'll be honest. It's pretty easy to just treat him like a hand grenade and just jump on people. Even Shroud, we're going to talk about this, but yes, Even Shroud is the best and most used mythic right now for supports. It feels like, if you're doing an engaged support, I mean, it's best to just go Even Shroud. It just kind of pushes you over the edge, being able to pop people. The other stuff, not so much. Jockshow and Radiant seem to have potential, but except Jockshow, we have lack of data. Yeah, this isn't really a good sample for that. So yeah, Amumu in the jungle, not as great. But Amumu in the jungle is never that good, to be completely honest. Ivern, I'm not sure what we're talking about Ivern on this list, other than the fact that maybe he's just monumentally bad at the moment. But I would not be playing Ivern in this meta. I feel like now this is one of those things where I'm not really sure if it's because I'm here and I'm playing with like a very high tempo server, but the games actually do feel more snowbally somehow. I don't know how that is, but that's just been the vibe. Like as soon as the season switched to the new season, it's just like so many champions now are just running games over. And I think it's mostly junglers. And I think it's because the jungle clears are faster. And that the champions that weren't always 3-camping, like basically there's so many champions that can 3-camp gank now that couldn't before. You could take Silas, like Silas is a common one here in Korea. It's to the point where I'm like, man, I might as well just like pick this guy or something, because he just keeps getting fed. It's like a 3-camp, he gets a kill, he runs the game over. That's happening a lot, and it feels like a champion like Ivern can't keep up with something like that. Like if some of these champions get early leads, they just run the game over. Elise is another one. Nidalee's another one. It's just the games feel wacky, like out of control wacky. The Kindred's another one. Games are just fast. And you can't slow them down. And this is also, I want to add to this. This is also why Rod of Ages looks really good on paper. But when this meta came out, Rod of Ages is getting like no value. And I think this also ties into the fact that the jungle's so fast, right? It's just so fast that everybody's just moving so quickly through the game when they get leads. And again, any of these champions, like here, you've got Kindred. Kindred's going Ravenous, right? You've got Shaco. Shaco could go Ravenous. Basically, if you can build Ravenous, you should. The people that seem to build that seem to win, right? It's just what it is. Maokai is looking weak right now, which is kind of funny. I actually really like the Maokai support with AP. It feels really good, and you know, you have the option of still playing normal utility like engage Maokai, but I showed the AP build on a coaching not too long ago, and it's worth. Rammus, again, I said he would be fine in the jungle if he's fine top lane, and this is still the case, but I would still argue that there's too many champions that just snowball. This list is very funny to me because of all the stuff that this guy is flagging. I think he says on here that it's like gold plus or plat plus or whatever. I'm telling you right now, there's none of these champions that he's talking about are the champions that are really scary in Korea, like Diamond, right? Like I don't even recognize this list. I'm gonna be honest, like except for like a Amumu, and maybe like you know, Kindred being quick. None of these champions here are really what's being played, and it could just, you know, it could be just it could be server diff or something. Because for me, it feels like any champion that wants to play slow, Kassadin, for example, like is just losing. Like, and any champion that wants to play fast is getting a lot of value. That's just been my experience so far. So yeah, that's what I would say right now about the meta. If you want my picks, let me do real quick before I go, actually. Let me do, because I'm going to jump into ranked here in a moment. I'm going to give you guys a little list real quick of champions to explore right now on the rolls. Hold on one second. Being sick sucks. So let's start with top lane. If you're playing top lane, you should be playing champions like this. Jax, Camille, Fiora, Renekton, Trundle, I'm trying to think of good examples. Olaf. Basically, any champion that can get value out of Ravenous and Shojin. All these champions can do that. And you basically will not be sad playing these champions in top lane and just getting a Ravenous out on the map. Well, Jax, I think Jax actually exceptions to the rule. Jax doesn't go Ravenous, but he's Jax, and he gets intense value out of Shojin every time that Shojin shows up. So that would be my recommendation. Honorable mentions, yeah, for newbies, Mordekaiser's okay, but he's always okay. And he can hold up versus a lot of these champions too. But that's just kind of been my read. Jungle, what I'm seeing in jungle right now that's like super strong on my end, people aren't going to believe me when I say Sylas. I swear to God, this champion's out of control everywhere. Technically, I could plug Sylas in top and be justified if I really wanted, but I won't do that because I know most of y'all can't play him. But like jungle, you can like 3 camp and snowball. I swear to God, he's ridiculous. Night Harvester, he just runs around and like one-shots everybody. It's the dumbest shit. Oh yeah, someone said Aatrox. Aatrox is fine to add in this list also. Nothing wrong with Aatrox. Fast, right? Fast champs or champs that get value out of the Ravenous playstyle or the Shojin playstyle. But Aatrox is kind of an exception because he was already god tier anyways. Kha'Zix is really good right now. Echo is really good right now. Nocturne's actually pretty good with Ravenous Rush. I'm probably going to play him today, pretty much all day. But I'm going to be playing him mid today. I'm trying to think of who else is like really fucking annoying. Elise is out of control. Lee Sin is out of control. But again, this is kind of like server diff. Like this is like KR diff because these guys play Lee Sin and make Lee Sin look like Cassin in late game. I swear to God. Udyr, big flag on Udyr. I haven't tried this guy enough, but he's looking out of control. So I'm probably gonna have to look into him as well. This one is apparently the strongest one on patch. I've seen this champion do some pretty nutty things. On this patch. And yeah, I think if you're looking at something like this, you're having a good time right now. Because again, you can pretty much just like, you can gank a lot faster than before and get snowballing really quick and you just don't slow down. Also because the jungle is going to change, but the way that the jungle works right now is that your early is fast and your mid game is weaker. So a lot of these champions can kind of just like cheese it out and they don't get punished as much in the mid to late game. That's what the next jungle change is going to look like, by the way, is that like the mid game XP is going to go up a little bit. The early clears are going to go down a little bit. Hecarim's another one actually can go Ravenous. But yeah, so mid right now to me looks like Sylas, Syndra, Akali. I'm trying to think of, I'm going to be looking at Nocturne. Nocturne's really strong right now. Same shit, the Ravenous thing. God. Oh, I mean, I'm playing Karma, but like, I don't know if I would recommend that to people because Karma is more of a specific type of pick. Yeah, Kindred's fine too. Same logic if you play fast. Let me think here. I mean, a lot of these champions up at top can show up in mid. So like Renekton can show up. Camille can show up if you know how to play him. Aatrox can show up. Mordekaiser can show up. Oh yeah, Zed's pretty good at the moment. Zed's also good in the jungle for similar reasons. Zed is actually really good right now. He just is out of control. I'm kind of blanking on mid, even though I've been spending a lot of time there. Yone's quite good in a meta where games are just moving quick. He's got really good scaling too. Like his early is good with lethal tempo and he's got really good scaling. God. Who else do I like seeing right now? Outside of some of the tops like leaking into mid, Victor's like okay in theory, but not great. And so like your Roa mids, remember what I just said, your Roa mids don't look very good right now. Right now. Push roam is obviously good. Push roam is great. So like any champion like Talon can push roam. Singed is another one that can push roam. Any champions that can get value, even Shen right now, again, that's yeah, Shen should be up here too. Mid meta is a little weird at the moment. And then support, I'm just gonna put enchanters. Enchanters and like Amumu. And then AD, you know, you saw a lot of the ADs at Worlds right now that are pretty solid. Varus, Caitlyn, you know, utility isn't bad right now. Even Jhin Ashe isn't bad right now. Varus, Caitlyn, Lucian, but like, you don't play this because he's not good for noobs. Varus, Caitlyn, Jhin, Ashe, Lucian. Yeah, the AD role is boring. You guys didn't get much, honestly. The role already sucked. You guys got fucked this season, man. And I already hated this role last season, and I feel like it's getting weaker. I think that if you're really trying to win, I guess Ezreal's always solid though. Like Ezreal can play with anybody. That's kind of another don't play this, but Ezreal can get through any lane no matter what. And then you can 2v1 a lot. Sivir's not bad too, actually. Sivir's been playing quite well also. And that's kind of where I'm at in this patch. I'm not seeing a ton of like crazy meta shifts yet. Nothing like all these champions were historically not bad already. Like for example, like Sylas and Syndra and Akali were already like good in mid at the end of last season, right? And like the Syndra buff was already making her very strong at the end of last season. So I feel like not a ton has actually changed. I think your biggest outliers come from the jungle, where now you've got like a bunch of champions cheesing out of their fucking mind up here, like in the role, and they just run everywhere and they run games over so fast. That has been the switch to me that has flipped. I was thinking about it all day yesterday. I was like, what has changed? And it's just like jungle gets 3 kills and it's like your game's ending soon. Has been my experience. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna pop on and do a Nocturne game. I'm gonna do a Nocturne game on cam for the... I'm gonna try Nocturne mid on like Korea game. I've had a pretty bad run the past like 2 or 3 days where I've just been losing a lot. And I mean, I could chalk part of that up to being sick and impatient. I could also just say that I'm trying a lot of stuff. But like I was saying the other day, it's probably good that I'm having this downswing now in preseason as opposed to the actual season kickoff, which isn't going to be for a while, by the way.